here in Fort Worth today. TCU celebrating Senior Day. And we're excited to be with you, Courtney Lyle, alongside former Washington State and NFL quarterback Ryan Leaf. Torrey Petrie will also be on the sidelines for us tonight. And, man, Kansas, they've had a lot of excitement this week. How excited were you to cover this team?
They're the hottest team in college football right now. They've had the biggest week, the biggest win, and now they're here to try to wreck TCU Senior Day.
Yeah, he is a team player. If he plays today, which he will get the start, that will burn his red shirt, but he is ready to do it for bigger things for this Kansas football program. Meanwhile, on the other side, TCU has been dealing with so many injuries. Max Duggan is going to get the start at quarterback, and he's going to start with a broken bone in his foot.
You know, sometimes it just, I had to not be able to walk to get me off the field, right? It was that thing, and Max Duggan is an example of that right now. His father's a high school football coach. You don't leave your team stranded, especially with what's going on right now and all the chaos.
TCU and Kansas coming up in just moments from Fort Worth. The Jayhawks and the Horned Frogs looking for a win in Big 12 play.
Well, the Caseys are here again today for the game. It was only an 8-hour drive for them this time, but they tell me they have absolutely loved all the attention their son has gotten this week. Their small town of Plainville, Kansas has been so pumped about this. The elementary school even made posters of Jared. Jared got to be in an Applebee's commercial because of this whole deal, and his parents got to make a cameo in the commercial with him. They say most importantly, though, they're excited about what this win has done for the Kansas football program. Courtney?
Torrey, what a week. I mean, Jared's eating good in the neighborhood this week.
We fancy like Applebee's up here, everybody.
That's right. Good for him. What a story, and he's going to be an integral part of Kansas today. We'll see him and Trevor Cardell in the tight end position.
What did Coach Leipold tell us last night? He said he liked it, but he was tired of what went down. He looked at Coach. I'm ready to go tomorrow, Coach.
Pretty impressive. Handled it like a champ. TCU won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So Kansas will get the ball first. Kenny Logan Jr. back to receive the opening kickoff, and Kansas will start on its own 25-yard line. Okay, Ryan, Jalen Daniels, as soon as he comes out to start at quarterback for Kansas and take this snap, he has burned his red shirt. This is his 5th appearance of the season.
You know, ironically enough, this day and age, having that redshirt year really is about the maturity part of it. And Coach really talked to us about he feels that Jalen Daniels has matured. You usually want that extra year to feel like you're ready to play. He's been handed the keys to the car, and this Kansas team is ready to roll.
Yeah, and important to note, it was his decision. He told Coach Lance Leipold, I want to play in this game because I know the importance of these next 2 games for Kansas as a whole. Completes his first pass to Kwame Lassiter II, one of the captains for this Kansas team.
Just a quick little pass out to the sideline, get the offense going, setting up a short second down. Coach Andy Kotelnicki talked to us about, he's the offensive coordinator, talked about how we want to be a little more aggressive on first down and not limit ourselves, but get first downs before we even have to worry about third down conversions.
Jalen Daniels, you see his path, was a blue shirt, meaning he didn't join the team until fall of last year, did not have a summer, did not have a spring, and now has taken over that starting spot. Pass was intended again for Lassiter, and Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, we might say his name a few times today. He breaks it up.
Yeah, we will say his name a few times today because he'll be on their best wide receiver, Kwame Lassiter, all day long. Right there is just an example. If he went up and tried to high point that, he probably has a better chance. Instead, he let the ball get into his body. Tomlinson, an easy deflection and pass breakup.
So 3rd and 2 coming for Jalen Daniels in Kansas on their very first drive. Working out of the pistol look, Devin Neal behind him, fumbles the snap. I think it came a little bit early and just gets rid of the football. 4th down. And there is a flag, intentional grounding.
Yeah, he just didn't get outside the pocket there. There was a miscommunication between the center and the quarterback.
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 6. Harvey placed at the spot of the foul. Loss of down, 4th down.
That's Kevin Hassel, who is our referee today.
You really couldn't have made two bigger mistakes right there. First off, miscommunication between the center and the quarterback. Good job of Jalen getting the ball out of there, but of course, he threw it to nowhere, which cost them an intentional grounding.
Vernon on the punt for Kansas. And the punt's fumbled. Off of the hands of TCU. Kansas thinks they have it. They do. It's Jayhawk football.
That's another way to get the first down, Courtney. Simply punt it, have them muff it, recover it, get the ball about the same
Ruling on the
place.
field as the kick was touched by the receiving team and then legally recovered by the kicking team for a first down, Kansas.
That was Darius Davis who was back to field the punt for TCU.
You know what's ironic about that, too? Coach Meacham talked to us about how Darius Davis and the fact that he's been punt returning has really helped him with his ball skills. Being able to see that ball there just didn't keep us focused on it and gives it right back to the Jayhawks.
And Nick Channel was the one who recovered it for Kansas, so back the offense goes to work. Devin Neal, his first work today, picks up a couple before he's met by Jamoy Hodge. Devin Neal was outstanding. We talked a lot about Jalen Daniels last week. Devin Neal, just a true freshman, 143 yards on the ground, a season high for him, 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, for a true freshman, he's really come alive in what he's been able to do. 4.5 yards per carry as a freshman in this offense.
Out of the pistol again, Neal is still back there. Ball is on the Kansas 49. Neal again back inside. Just a little bit of extra effort to gain a few more yards.
You know, Courtney, this is the 3rd time that I've had the Kansas Jayhawks this year, and I've watched the evolution in Andy Kotelnicki's offense, right? He's feeling more comfortable with who he's got out there. He's become more aggressive on first down. This is an example of that. They put themselves in a position where they have not so many predictable 3rd down conversion attempts.
They're rushing the ball a lot better than they did too, averaging about 46 more yards per game than they did last season. It helps they have a running back like Neal. 3rd down to the air, and the pass thrown behind Luke Grimm, who is returning for the first time in 2 games from injury.
Wonderful play design there. They ran off the 2 wide receivers on the outside, and allowed Luke Grimm to come wide open for a first down. But Jalen Daniels just kind of short-armed it, tried to guide it a little too much with his hand, and of course that ball usually drops short like it did right there.
So Vernon back out to punt. Darius Davis this time fields it cleanly for TCU. And so this time we will get to see TCU go on offense after the punt.
Yep, they were able to escape there. 2 possessions already. The defense has been stout enough to get a couple stops, and now let's see what Max Duggan can do with that broken foot. He's not going to be the mobile quarterback that he has been this season or in the past, so they're going to do probably a lot more from the pocket, and if they do run some boots and nakeds, he's going to set up instead of throw on the run.
He has certainly been a leader. Chandler Morris is out with an injury at quarterback for TCU, so Duggan has got to play. Run back inside, and a nice first play from Imari DiMercado. They have been decimated at the running back position. He was the only scholarship running back available last week. They think they may have Kendre Miller today.
Yeah, and when they started this season, they had 3 really capable running backs in the stall, and right now, Imari DiMercado is the lone back there.
Now, Zach Evans is also a huge loss. He will not be available today. 2nd down, Duggan on the keeper. The first down for Max Duggan. I mean, this kid wants to do everything for TCU. Remember, he has a broken bone in his foot.
That's unbelievable. Great job of reading the end. I don't think that defensively Kansas is probably prepared for something like that, and he simply just keeps it and goes for a big first down.
We were wondering too, because when we talked to the coaches, they said Max Duggan was very limited in practice. If they rolled out, did any kind of bootleg work, he wasn't taking the rollout. He was just kind of standing there and going through the motions. DeMercado. First down, finding some space through that Jayhawk D.
You know, people forget just 2 weeks ago, they took down a one-loss Baylor team right after their head coach of 20 years, Gary Patterson, was fired. And they're very capable of being explosive on offense and doing things just like that and getting big plays.
Now, that was such an emotional win over a ranked Baylor team, a 30-28 victory for Jerry Kill, who's now the interim head coach, and this TCU team. To the ground again, DeMercado falls forward over the 45-yard line, deeper into Kansas territory.
This might be one of the better uniform games that we've had.
That's not what I thought you were going.
It's great.
Because you can see the numbers?
Well, that, and I think it's a great like pairing of the two, I think. Well, if you're watching on TV here, you have to feel pretty lucky right now.
Darius Davis is in motion. He gets the football. First down, TCU. Darius Davis! Get out of here! Touchdown, TCU! A 43-yard score for Darius Davis and the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, wonderful play design. Just a end-around run here by their fastest player and most dynamic with the football, and he just makes guys miss. Kansas has been really tentative on the back end as the player is breaking down to make the tackle instead of going forward and trying to get the guy to the ground. Great response here by TCU.
PAT is up. It's good from Griffin Kell. And a solid first drive. Darius Davis, a little redemption after muffing the punt.
Davis to the house, and TCU takes the early lead here in Fort Worth.
The longest run of Darius Davis's career, a 43-yard touchdown run, has TCU up 7-0 over Kansas here on Senior Day.
Yeah, the Louisiana native did a tremendous job of just outracing everybody. Great drive after the muffed punt on his part to rebound and get him in the end zone.
Kansas will let this one sail. You wondered what today was going to be like. It was a really tough loss last week to Oklahoma State, 63-17. Before the game, so many emotions for TCU. Gary Patterson in the tunnel for Senior Day, and I don't think that Jerry Kill was going to let him not be in the tunnel.
Oh, he told us that. He said, I'm your boss now. You be here. And there was nothing that was going to stop him from being here and being a part of these seniors' final day. He'd been part of their lives for so long.
And there's Jerry Kill, who has moved up to interim head coach. Pass complete to Kwame Lassiter, shakes a guy off. Kwame Lassiter to the 46-yard line. Let's go down to Torrey.
Guys, you talk about Gary Patterson still being involved in this program. I mean, spending 2 decades with this team, that is a huge amount of time, and this change was massive for him. He has still been around the building, and this coaching staff has welcomed it. We actually ran into him while we were taking our tours yesterday.
Yeah, we did, Tori. We spent a little bit of time with Coach Patterson. I mean, how could you not? Over 2 decades, like you said. It's a totally different life. This is Jason Bean, and gets lit. Remember, he's been dealing with a hand injury. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson dropped him. The coaches told us that we would see Bean today.
Yeah, different role here, kind of as a running back. He goes on the sweep, was very good all year long, but Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, one of the more physical corners out there, making a big hit, taking him down.
Bean won the starting quarterback position in fall camp. It was a 3-way battle. Jalen Daniels was one of those battling, but he was hurt, so that set him back. Devin Neal hops over a TCU defender, takes it to the 47-yard line in Horned Frog territory.
Offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki talked to us about the involvement, right? The evolution of what Devin Neal's been able to do. Right there was an example. There was no hesitation. He put his foot in the ground. He saw where he wanted to go, hurdled the defender, and got and put themselves into a very manageable third down position.
There you see the offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki. I guarantee you Ryan will say his name numerous times in this broadcast. He's done a great job.
He's done a great job. I think he has head coach written all over him down the line.
Third down here for Kansas. Haven't converted one yet. And I think that's going to be a yard short. The pass was caught by Luke Grimm. D. Winters met him. You stay aggressive if you're Kansas?
I mean, there's nothing for them to lose. This is about belief in their team and going forward. Right there's an example of Luke Grimm being gone for a little while. When he catches that ball, instead of just getting north and south, he kind of hesitates, and just enough for the defense to push him back and keep him short of the sticks.
He has been out the last 2 games with an injury. Kansas will hurry to the line. Devin Neal. First down, Jayhawks.
When you're a player on the sideline and coach is very aggressive in what he wants to do, it gives you confidence that the coaching staff believes in your ability to get it done. And then when you go out and execute, that continues just to build the confidence more and more.
Did you have a coach like that?
Oh, yeah. I had the best in the business, Mike Price.
Well, Lance Leipold has made it no secret. I mean, they went for 2. They know they were going for 2, and they went to overtime.
They don't have anything to lose right now, right? They're just trying to build towards the future.
Got him a win over Texas last week. Daniels rolling and throwing. Catch is complete. That's Lawrence Arnold. Made the grab over Hodges Tomlinson.
This is a tremendous throw on the run. I thought he was a little late with it, but Arnold goes up and just uses his hands and rips it away. This is a perfect example to you out there that want to be a wide receiver. Look how he extends his hands to go get the ball and not wait for it to get into his body. If he were to do that, Tomlinson has a much easier chance of knocking that ball away.
That's a 14-yard pickup for the redshirt freshman Lawrence Arnold on the grab. They fake it to Neal, swing it out to Jason Bean. Tripped up and I think loses a yard on the play.
I like how they're trying to get Bean involved because he's an incredibly dynamic player. But sometimes when you're doing that in practice, it works a lot better than it does in the game. And the guys that they have out on the perimeter who have been making plays all year for them, I really would continue to try to attack with them.
Yeah, early on in the season when Jason Bean was the starting quarterback, his legs were saving them a lot of the time. So he was extending plays, making plays that should have been a loss a game because of what he could do. He's very mobile and very versatile.
I think that's a great word, Courtney, is that this team has become more versatile.
Flag down.
I would think that maybe he grabbed him with the face mask, but
We'll get the word from Kevin
After the
Hassel.
play was over, personal foul, defense number 13, unnecessary roughness. That's a half innocence to the goal and an automatic first down.
That's on D. Winters.
so maybe the whistle's blowing here. Maybe the extension with the arm for the shove to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, football's become a bit of two-hand touch since my days. I probably would still be playing if I wasn't allowed to get hit like they are now. But
Yeah.
But it is what it is. That's a moment right there. You know the guy's not going anywhere. There's no reason to extend your arm and throw him to the ground.
That was Jalen Daniels. In for the touchdown. His second rushing touchdown of the season.
What a response by the Jayhawks team. You could tell there was probably a little anxiety, a little nervousness coming out onto the field again after the big win. And hey, they finally have some expectations. And here Jalen Daniels does a tremendous job of reading his block and then outraces the TCU defense.
Jalen Daniels accounted for 4 touchdowns last week. Again, the win over Texas. 3 through the air, 1 on the ground. PAT up and good. Tie game.
Jayhawks answer back with a big touchdown run by Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels finds the end zone for Kansas, and they have tied up this game early on. 9 plays, 75 yards, 4:50 off of the clock here in the first quarter. That's a good response for Kansas.
It's an incredible response by Kansas, especially after having 2 opportunities, having to punt, and then getting run through and being down early. They've responded in kind. This is going to be a good competitive football game, I believe.
Tabor Allen, the kickoff specialist, on the field for TCU, for Kansas, kicking to TCU's Darius Davis. He's already exploded with a 43-yard touchdown run today. TCU will fall on it on the 25. Let's go down to the field with Tori Petrie.
Courtney, quarterback Max Duggan has really showed some maturity with trying to do what's best for this football team. Last week when Chandler Morris was healthy, he went to Jerry Kill and said, hey, you got to start Morris. That's what's best for the team. But now that Morris is injured, him getting out there is what's best for the team. That foot injury really hasn't gotten any better. But his dad's a high school football coach in Iowa, and he said, you got to get in there and play for your team. And he took that to heart, and now he's out there.
Yeah, lit it up at Lewis Central in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and here he is back on the field with that broken bone in his foot. And we've seen him be a little mobile, too. Impressive. Pass complete to Darius Davis, swarmed by Kansas's defense. Ryan, we were a little concerned about who was going to start at quarterback for TCU, so just in case, we headed down yesterday to the TCU equipment room. We had a guy. We got a guy we think might be good if they need a quarterback. So you get measured up.
Get the shoulder pads, you know, make sure everything's ready to go because you're going to get hit out there. Get you in a helmet. Especially when you get pulled down like that. You got to be ready. You got to have somebody ready to go. Of course, that was me.
Yeah, couldn't see your face, but eventually we got there.
I've been in the transfer portal for about, here we are.
Yep.
Get me in that helmet.
You ready to go?
We'll see. We'll see. What do you guys think?
Yeah, how long have you been in the transfer portal?
I've been in the transfer portal for 25 years.
You look great.
I'm a little bit like Toby Keith. You know, maybe not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was, everybody.
Goodness gracious. A loss of 11 on that play. Trying to get it right back with a pass complete to Darius Davis for the first down. I think Max Duggan's going to be okay. I think he can relax for a second.
Thank God. I tell you right now, I think if I had to do anything bursting in nature, it could be a problem. What a wonderful job of sitting in the zone here by Darius Davis. Watch as he sits down, and Duggan puts it right on the money, allows him to get yards after the catch because it was right before the first down marker. He picks it up and extends the drive.
That's a 28-yard pickup for Darius Davis. His shortest reception of the day. Or shortest play of the day. His longest was that 43-yard touchdown run. There's DeMercado on the carry, met by Jason Gilliam.
I'm assuming that defensive coordinator Brian Borland, during that last break, after the big score, talked to his defense about you have to be more aggressive. You have to break down. You can't simply wait for the team to come to you. And they've been more aggressive so far, other than that third down conversion.
And he talked to us about attention to detail and focus have helped this Kansas defense evolve over the season. Duggan off play action and in trouble. Evades a defender before he's finally taken down, falls over the 40-yard line. Caleb Sampson in on the stop for Kansas.
I know a lot of you out there listening and watching this ball game, you're thinking, how can he be out there moving around with a broken bone in his foot? They assured us that the injury cannot get worse. It's just a matter of how much pain he can deal with in the game. And Clearly, it's not affecting him in any way right now. He seems very much the part of the Max Duggan who's played quarterback here for the Horned Frogs.
Now, I was watching him in warm-ups too, Ryan. I didn't really notice anything different. He wasn't favoring one foot over the other. Pocket collapsing, ball knocked out, falls into the hands of the center, Steve Avila. Right place at the right time for TCU.
The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by the offense. Fourth down.
Jeremy Robinson got a hand in there to pop the football loose.
Offensive lineman's dream. You see everything in front of you. We like to call him the thick six if he gets all the way. Great job by the defense of getting in there, disrupting the play. The ball bounces all over the place. Avila grabs it. Probably had bigger ideas in his mind than what his feet could carry. It sets up a fourth down for a punt.
So Jordy Sandy out of Australia comes on to punt for TCU. Kwame Lassiter calls for the fair catch. Well, Kansas had a nice response on their last drive. Jalen Daniels was able to punch it in to cap that drive. And I can kind of already see the composure that the coaching staff was talking to us about. That showed up big time on film last week.
It did, and it has throughout the year, like the ebbs and flows of a football game, the highs and lows. They would really move up and down with that. Coach Leipold talked to us about how this team has started to kind of maintain this neutral way of thinking on the football field, regardless of how high or how low. And he exacted that in practice this week. Like, guess what? We haven't been winning, but we just had one of the biggest wins. We still have to go back to work because we play again on the road next Saturday.
Yeah, that consistency is paying off for Kansas, and they're seeing the results with the big upset of Texas last week. Devin Neal's got a hole. He'll be a yard short of the first down. And we talked to Lance Leipold right before last night, before he was going to go address the team, and he told us, I'm going to ask them, how much have we really changed? And he hoped the answer wasn't a lot, because he was hoping that consistency in practice, that hard work, that focus is what's gotten them to this point. That was his point.
It was, and the juxtaposition of this game is like two sides of a coin. You have one team that is moving forward with the consistency of a head coach and building a foundation. And on the other side, it's a bit in limbo, a bit of chaos. Where are we going next?
And TCU has not officially named a head coach yet. Jalen Daniels falls forward for Kansas, and it's a first down. Kyrie Coleman brought him down.
What did Andy Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator, tell us about Jalen Daniels? The difference that he's seen since he's entered the game, other than Jason Bean, is his ability to fall forward, really to make a guy miss and make a play. And they've been able to use those examples on film to show the team, look what we're capable of doing. We're just not a team that goes down at the first hit. If we do these extra things, we can contend. And they've shown that.
1st and 10 from their own 31. Neal looking for room on the edge. To the 36-yard line. He looks different too. I mean, everybody, the last time I saw Kansas in person was the Baylor game. And so a lot's changed. And I think Devin Neal has become the featured running back. Velton Gardner entered the transfer portal after that game. He's got that confidence about him, and it's helping Kansas.
Timeout.
Tie ball game at the end of the first quarter here in Fort Worth. Back here in Fort Worth, we were just talking about Kansas running back Devin Neal, number 4 in white, a local kid who decided to stay at home in Lawrence. And this is what he said committing to Kansas. The adversity this program has been through over the last decade was never going to turn me away. It's one of the biggest reasons I signed. I accept this challenge. Make no mistake, we're going to get this thing turned around. And remember, this is a guy that committed to their previous head coach, not Lance Leipold, and decided to stick through it all. Shot down the field, Trevor Cardell, the tight end. The connection, Jalen Daniels to Trevor Cardell, and a huge pickup for the Jayhawks.
Wonderful play call. Once again, they vacate the middle of the field with two of the wide receivers, sneak out Cardell out of the backfield, and he's wide open. Great pass, puts it on the money. Big pickup to start this second quarter.
A 44-yard gain on the catch by Trevor Cardell. He had 42 receiving yards before that play on the season. They're using him in place of Mason Fairchild, not available today.
It's what you call a tendency breaker, Courtney. The guy's caught 43 yards of passes all year long, then you throw him a 45-yarder, 44-yarder. It's what we call a tendency breaker in the coaching lingo there.
That must be a theme, because I had Houston last week, and they threw to their tight end 6 times. He had 5 catches on the year.
You know, this late in the season, you do a ton of self-scouting. Like, what have you been doing? What have been going on? And sure enough, there's an example of it. Great play call by Andy Kotelnicki, offensive coordinator.
I'm just tallying every time you say Andy Kotelnicki.
It's a neat name to say.
It is. It's fun once you learn it. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line for Kansas on the run by Devin Neal. Corey Blefley on the stop.
Well, when you spent your whole life with the 4-letter last name like Lyle and Leaf,
yeah.
You know, take advantage of Kotelnicki's, you know.
Third down here. Kansas 0 for 3 on third down today.
The Applebee's spokesperson out there on the far right, Jared Casey.
Daniels, connection to Neal. Stepped out of bounds before he went into the end zone. They'll spot the ball at the 2-yard line.
What a wonderful read by Jalen Daniels. A lot of times when you're a young quarterback, you simply are looking for the bigger play. And he had a couple guys open right there, but the guy who had the most leverage was Devin Neal on the outside. And I was hoping we could get another look at what it looked like on the sideline, because he does a tremendous job of kind of walking the tight wire there, almost getting into the end zone.
I think we're just seeing a little blip of the versatility that Devin Neal can have in his career at Kansas. First and goal. Neal into the end zone. Kansas takes the lead.
We walked into that hotel last night, and you had Kansas Jayhawks walking around the hotel, and it was a pretty bougie hotel too. So they were living the high life a little bit last night. They're walking around feeling really comfortable. Watch this too. Watch how Devin Neal, as soon as he can see that goal line, watch him dive forward. Just boom, shoot straight down. Doesn't allow for a chance as somebody is standing him up and pushing him back. That's a lot of awareness for the young freshman.
And that little extra effort, I don't think that's something they had at the beginning of the season. Across the board, not just talking about Devin Neal, and you mentioned it, Coach Kotelnicki said those little erasing moments is what he called it, meaning breaking that extra tackle, that one extra push from the offensive line. That's making the difference right now. PAT up and good. Devin Neal into the end zone again today.
Welcome back to Fort Worth, where Kansas leads TCU 14-7. Devin Neal just down here. Take a look at his reaction after last week's big win over Texas.
I gotta call my mama now. I'm out. I gotta call my mama. I gotta call my mama, man.
Mom is the most important person here. You gotta call mom after a big win.
Yeah, you absolutely do, Tori. I mean, his mom was at a watch party watching the game. I love that clip that Kansas put on their Twitter. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is.
I think all of us are that guy.
Yeah?
I needed to call my mom after big wins. But they were usually there. You know, I'd go and hug my pops after any kind of game. Didn't matter. Mom was more just relieved that her son wasn't injured, I think, is the biggest thing in all of that. She was always praying for, please let him get out of the game safe and sound. That's all she wanted in that moment.
Well, Devin Neal gives Kansas the lead 14-7. The Jayhawks looking for back-to-back wins in Big 12 play. Max Duggan and TCU thinking about something else. They want to get back on track here. Coming around the other way, there's a flag out in the backfield. It was Tay Barber.
They're going to have a penalty for a crackback block, a blindside block of sorts. Thought he did a pretty good job of stopping his momentum and not really being aggressive with the block, but I don't know what you can do right there. You just kind of stand there like a screen in basketball, I suppose, and try to stop him from moving along, but he didn't. As one of our fans right below us said, it's football.
Illegal blindside block on the offense, number 87. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. It remains first down.
And that was on Blake Noel, one of the wide receivers.
That's tough. You've played football a certain way your whole life. He did a tremendous job of pulling up a little bit, trying not to make contentious contact there, but I mean, that official was immediate with it. Like he a little premonition of what was coming and had that flag out almost before the play even happened.
All right, Kendre Miller is in at running back. He was out last week with an injury. That means 2 scholarship running backs available for TCU, and they give him the football to the 21.
Kendre Miller was one of the 3-headed monster. I called their opener against Duquesne, and they had Amari DeMarcado, Zach Evans, of course, who was the stud who leads the team in rushing this year, and Kendre Miller. All 3 of them contributed greatly this year, and good thing because the injuries have stacked up.
Now 2nd and long from the 21-yard line in TCU territory. Back to Miller. Back to the original line of scrimmage at the 25, stopped by Kenny Logan Jr.
Courtney, you remember I talked about on that first drive how it looked like they were catching as a defense, waiting for it. Right there, Kenny Logan puts his foot in the ground, becomes aggressive, goes after Miller and takes him down after a short gain.
Yeah, and Kenny Logan Jr., one of their more experienced guys. Him and Ricky Thomas have really been leading that secondary. 3rd and 10. Duggan over the middle of the field, pass incomplete. Jacoby Bryant in coverage.
Ton of confidence from this defense. It's built, it's built, it's built, it's built. And for the last 2 weeks, even though Texas scored 56 points last week, they made the plays when they needed to. Right there's a perfect example. Jacoby Bryant, the young freshman, gets his hand in there, knocks away, gives the offense another chance to get the ball back.
Yeah, and a defense for Kansas, too, that forced 4 turnovers last week, and their offense didn't turn the football over.
It's kind of been the storyline all year long. They haven't turned the football over a bunch, and they've got when they could.
The punter was hit, and you can hear the TCU fans not pleased to see Jordy Sandy on the ground, and there's no flag. It was Jason Gilliam, but no penalty called. Kansas football when we come back.
Back here in Fort Worth, Jason Gilliam, right before the break, came off the edge here and seemingly spun the punter around with his body, but both officials staring right at it inexplicably throw no flag for either roughing the punter or, in this case, I thought at least running into the punter. I don't know what their explanation was right there, but we heard from the TCU faithful they were not pleased with that call as they handed it back over to the Jayhawks.
Yeah, and they're getting the ball on their own 31-yard line. Jalen Daniels back to work. Pass to Kwame Lassiter. To the 35.
When you pull those types of screens, you want your receiver to make one guy miss. That's what you got to do. You have to make one guy miss and you can pick up. And sure enough, they pick up 5 yards. Andy Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator, talked about it at length last night about being better on 1st and 2nd down and not even getting to 3rd down and putting themselves in predictable situations, but continuing down the football field and be more aggressive. And they've shown that so far today.
2nd and 5. Ball's at the 46. Play action. Daniels moving. Almost picked off by Travius Hodges Tomlinson. Lucky break for Daniels.
Very lucky break. Sometimes you get a little too overconfident, rolling to his right. I like the play call with the play action, but this is a throw that he got lucky with. Surrounded by black shirts right there, and Tomlinson continues to play solid defense as the cornerback position. There's a reason why they play corner, not wide receiver, though, dropping that football.
Yeah, Hodges Tomlinson, preseason All-American, was an All-American last season. 3rd down. Luke Grimm with the catch, and for the 2nd time today, Kansas is able to convert a 3rd down.
If you recall back in the 1st quarter, they tried the same type of play, and this time Jalen Daniels was not able to complete it, left it short, cleared it out, ran man-to-man, and puts it right on the money. Luke Grimm secures the ball, gets a foot down, steps out of bounds for a first.
2 weeks with Jalen Daniels, what do you think?
It's a different sort of efficiency. This team just needed Jason Bean for as long as they did, and then when they were executing better, Jalen Daniels is just a different kind of quarterback with both his arm and his feet.
Devin Neal on the carry to the 47. Winters on the stop. Okay, we have seen Jason Bean a couple of times today, but not in the quarterback position.
Well, for the longest time of this season, he was the most dynamic player. He was the most explosive. He was their best chance of finding ways to get explosive plays and win football games. And so once the team caught up to that athletic ability, I think, Jalen Daniels, who was hurt during the preseason, really didn't get to compete as much, really got to take over when Bean got hurt. Whoa!
Oh, Jared Casey! Stop it! What a highlight reel!
Come on now.
He's moving up to a Chili's deal.
I'd take that. I love Chili's. I hope they're a sponsor. What a catch by the walk-on. Now this is going to be on Sunday morning NFL Countdown. And Randy Moss, my old 98 draft partner, is going to be talking about that. There's Mom and Dad.
Yeah, there's Jerry and Karen.
What a week for that family.
His parents, you saw the viral video. Tori had it for you at the beginning of the broadcast of them watching Jared catch that 2-point conversion. This is a pass complete to Luke Grimm. Loses a yard on the play. Jared Casey, he told Coach Leipold, I'm ready.
Yeah,
last night.
He looks the part, I tell you that much.
Walked On was a huge Kansas Jayhawk fan, remembers listening to the big moments in his parents' car on the radio.
Well, guess what?
Suit
Jared
up.
Casey is now part of those big moments.
Neal on the ground. If it wasn't for D. Winters, Devin Neal might have been out of here. 1st down, Kansas.
He reminds me a ton of Tiki Barber inside the hole. That was, for those of you who are not as old as I am, Tori, we're talking about you, Tori, down there. He puts his foot in the ground, finds a way to execute, holds that ball nice, high and tight. There's no way it's going to come out, and then just gets drugged down from behind. But
Timeout. Kansas. This is their first charge. Timeout of the half.
there are no moral victories.
Kansas in the Horned Frog territory now. Jalen Daniels in trouble. Dropped by Terrell Cooper.
An idea coming out of the timeout there, taking a shot using Jason Bean out of the backfield. He saw that lane close up pretty quickly. He stopped his feet, and unfortunately for the Jayhawks, he was sacked for a big loss.
That's just the 13th sack allowed by Kansas this year, 15th fewest in the nation. Cardell in motion. Neal. Back to the original line of scrimmage. O'Shawn Mathis there.
Another example of Devin Neal able to press the hole, and then as soon as he sees it open, he plants his foot and moves forward, gets back the yardage they just lost. Now we're talking about putting themselves in a field goal position here with third down, not trying to, if it's there, take it, of course, but don't force anything. Try to get some yards and make it more of a reasonable attempt to get some points on this drive.
Third down ball is at the 28-yard line of TCU. Daniels lets it fly. A pass intended for Stephen McBride. Keon Stewart there.
Keon Stewart does a wonderful job of just kind of fading back into the route. Right there, I'd like to see Jalen Daniels, see him start to backpedal a little bit, hit the guy in the flat, and have him maybe run for the first down. Wonderful job of him vacating that spot, getting back to a place where he can break off the pass to Stephen McBride there, and sets up a long fourth down and field goal attempt.
Jacob Orchilla on to attempt what would be a 46-yarder. His career long is 50. Hit that against Duke earlier this year. And it's no good. Kansas still on top after the missed field goal, 14-7 here in Fort Worth. Kansas misses a field goal, so TCU back on offense, 14-7. Jayhawks on top here in the second quarter in Fort Worth. Max Duggan getting the start today. Chandler Morris out with the injury. Not that Max Duggan isn't injured himself, playing with a broken bone in his foot. Bobbles the snap a little bit. It's going to let it fly. He's got a guy, and the catch is made. Pass complete. Barkley on the catch.
Wonderful play fake here, and then a double move by Mikael Barkley. Ball's a tad bit underthrown, but he's able to make the catch right in front of Jacob Bryant for a huge first down play.
TCU having to get a little extra depth at wide receiver today because Quentin Johnston is out with an injury. So a catch for Barkley. He followed a 48-yard pickup with a 5 more yards, stopped by Taiwan Berryhill. TCU, it has been unreal what they have dealt with injury-wise. Out today, Chandler Morris, Zach Evans, Quentin Johnston, Wes Harris, and then TJ Carter on their defense.
Coach Jerry Kill talked about it this week. He's not one for excuses, but this is the worst situation he's seen in terms of injuries in his coaching career, and he's been coaching for a long time.
Duggan on the move. Flag down about the 16-yard line. Kenny Logan Jr. on the tackle.
Holding. Offense, number 12. It's 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
That's on Jorkoria Spivey, one of their wide receivers.
Usually any time at the point of attack, you watch Spivey here, he grabs a hold of him on the outside there, limits him from getting to Duggan right in front of the official. Nothing else he can do but throw the flag there, pushing him behind the sticks.
A 2nd and 12 here. Ball at the 36 of Kansas. The 26, excuse me. DeMercado. Back to the 20.
Punishing run there by Amari DeMercado, the senior out of Inglewood, California, made his way here to Fort Worth. walking around campus yesterday and hearing from Mark Cohen, their wonderful sports information director, talked about the effect LaDainian Tomlinson has had here, not only on the football program, but also its enrollment. Like a ton of California movement has happened. Other than Texas, California is the second largest state in terms of who goes to TCU.
And Amari DiMercado from Inglewood, California. Duggan's got to scramble. Did Kansas pull it down? Jacoby Bryant. Interception.
Interception for a touchback. First down, Kansas.
He had his first career interception last week and follows it up again with another INT.
Max Duggan trying to make a play here to get him back in the end zone. Jacoby Bryant simply stays with his wide receiver, undercuts him, makes a big play. Watch as he stays with, gets a little tug there to pull himself back in. A little more than a little tug, but watch this one-handed grab as he pulls it into his body in the end zone to take away the football. Kansas Jayhawks making big plays here in Fort Worth. Welcome back to Fort Worth, Texas, here between the Kansas Jayhawks and the TCU Horned Frogs. Max Duggan throws up a pass that looks like a great chance for a touchdown, but Jacoby Bryant, the young freshman, gets one hand up, is able to pull it in with his hip, complete the catch, and get the big turnover for the Jayhawks.
The second turnover that Kansas has forced today, right in the end zone, and the second career interception for Jacoby Bryant, who had a pick six last week against Texas.
You know, there were really a couple freshmen.
For an injured
Oh no, Jalen, I mean, Devin Neal is down right now for Kansas.
Hopefully it's just a little cramp or something like that. He's a huge part of it. Looks like he's holding his shoulder. Maybe an AC joint or a stinger. I don't want to speculate too much here, but to your point, something about winning a big game, right? Something when you've lost so many consecutive football games, to get that kind of win, the confidence that it builds in the team hotel last night, guys walking around, there was just a different kind of pep in their step, right? I asked that question a lot to this coaching staff, like, what has this week meant to your players and your staff? And the staff has got to kind of stay even keel with this, but there has to be a reward at the end of it all. There's no moral victories. If you play tough and do well, you've got to at some point start seeing some quantifiable variables in all this. And last week's win on the road in Austin against what people consider a very historic team in the Big 12 Conference, of course, the Texas Longhorns, and then to go back out on the road and come back out with the same kind of intensity and focus that's necessary to win.
So good to see Devin Neal up on his own. Torrey's working to get us an update on his status. Pass complete. There's your guy, Jared Casey. Second reception today for Casey, the hero from last week.
What a catch. Another great catch. He's got the ball not even on his body. He's got a huge catch radius. That's two of the best catches so far of the day. The new Kansas Applebee's spokesman right there.
Mom's got the phone up.
Yeah.
Looking for another viral moment. That's Karen.
Don't forget, a week ago, the young man hadn't even played an offensive snap until he caught that touchdown pass.
Go big or go home.
Sorry, the two-point conversion.
Timeout, Kansas. Their second charge to the half. This will be a 30-second timeout. 30 seconds in length.
So Kansas will have one more timeout remaining here in the second quarter. Amari Pesic Hickson is the running back in as they're looking at Devin Neal right now on the sidelines. Yeah, I mean, going back to last week's win, Ryan, for Lance Leipold, it's not just about this team, and this team knows it. It's about the future of what can be at Kansas. And he saw great responses from future recruits, from his own team, from the Kansas fans. That's big time.
Yeah, 2 of their better performances this year were against the likes of Oklahoma.
Right.
And then the win over Texas, and that's meaningful, especially in those states where you're going to recruit players for your football team.
Now, Kansas led 10-0 over Oklahoma at the half. 3rd down, intercepted. D. Winters on the pick, his 2nd interception of the season. TCU throws one to Kansas, and Kansas throws it back.
D. Winters does a remarkable job of faking like he's going in. Watch him, he's in the middle of the field, and he just steps and gets back into knowing exactly where that wide receiver is. As a quarterback, when they're not in your sight line and they disappear into the line of scrimmage, you almost discount for them. And sure enough, D. Winters just slides back underneath the wide receiver in his zone, right there to make the interception.
So a chance for Max Duggan to get back on the field before this quarter ends. TCU has all 3 of its timeouts. 1:57 on the clock. Amari DiMercato. Speed around the edge. 1st down, Horned Frogs.
Road grader by the left side of that offensive line. Every single one of them allows Amari DiMercato to get to the outside and then make a guy miss with a little stiff arm and pick up the 1st down.
Would the game clock operator please reset the clock to 1:50 seconds, please? 1:50 seconds on the clock. Thank you.
Ball goes to the 18-yard line. DiMercato falling forward, pickup of 2, stopped by Kyron Johnson.
This is a big drive for TCU after the mistake there, getting the football back. It's imperative that they find a way to get some sort of points here to keep building towards the 2nd half.
It would be great to punch it in here, and then remember, TCU will get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Lobs one up to the corner of the end zone, looking for Quincy Brown. Incomplete. Deuce Mayberry in coverage.
When you got a 6'4", 190-pound wide receiver, this is where you put the ball. This is ball placement to perfection. He puts it on the outside shoulder where only his wide receiver can get it. Just doesn't come up with the catch. Perfect body lean, puts it right to the outside. Couldn't have drawn it up better there. You just got to come down with the catch. And the young freshman just needs some more reps. Coach Meacham really thinks very highly of the young guy.
They pass it to DiMercato. A yard short of the 1st down. Ronald McGee held on. And there's a Kansas player down.
Field is the 1st down. Timeout for an injured defensive player.
That's the defensive end, Malcolm Lee.
The runner was stopped short of the line to gain. 4th down.
He likes his microphone, that official. Malcolm Lee there. Anytime you have defensive linemen trying to make plays, especially in the screen game, can really get cut up or cut down, for a better term, by the offensive line.
Well, while they look at Malcolm Lee, Tori, do you have an update on Devin Neal for us?
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, we saw Devin Neal head the locker room with trainers. Coach Lance Leipold walked over to him, talked to him. They took him over to the sidelines, checked him out in the tent, and after that, they walked him into the locker room. So if he's able to get back out here in the 2nd half or not.
All right, Tori, thank you. Just 1:10 left on the clock, so
Probably precautionary.
Yeah, just go ahead and take it to the locker room.
Just take it to the locker room, get a good look at it, get some therapy during the half, and see if he can bounce back and play in the 2nd half.
4th down, TCU wants it. Duggan's got DiMercato back with him. And it's going to be really close.
The official up top really looked like he didn't make it where they're marking in the football. They haven't. Yeah, they're giving
Kansas
it to Kansas.
Ruling on the field is the runner will stop short of the line to gain. First down, Kansas.
Caleb Sampson got in there and held on. Wow, that's a tough spot.
It is a tough spot to be in. You go for it there instead of taking points. I understand, nothing to lose type of mentality. I always question, and you know, maybe it's just my age and the fact that a lot of teams offensively don't go under center anymore, but they simply, on a 4th and 1 and only need 1 yard.
The ruling on the field that the runner was short of the line to gain is under further review.
I'd love to get a second look at this.
You line up in the shotgun 6 yards away from where you need to get. It's always problematic. Wonderful job by the defense of getting penetration and then simply seeing Caleb Sampson just kind of engulf DeMarcado here and go down to the ground with them. Doesn't allow for him to really get a lot of push. I'd like to see if we have more of a sideline view of it to see where that official comes running in to mark him down. But there's nothing there that we just saw that's going to allow for the officiating crew or the replay official to change what just was put forward by the officials.
Well, that might be our best look right there. To your point, Ryan, about going under center, I know I've heard a lot of coaches and teams talk about they're just not used to it. So they don't ever do it, so you don't want to do it there. It's a totally different feel, I would imagine. You would know better than I.
It is, but that's why you have.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Kansas.
So
yeah,
confirmed.
There's because there's just no evidence, so they had to confirm it there. Well, that's what practice is for. Extend a period where you go over short yardage situations and practice taking the snap under center. I mean, that's how you change that dynamic. You just don't chalk it up to, well, we just don't do it enough, so we're not going to do it.
I don't disagree. Just playing devil's advocate.
I like it.
59 seconds left in the quarter for Kansas after a big 4th down stop. Amari Pesic-Hickson, and they keep this on the ground. Jamoy Hodge meets him. And I think TCU is going to take a timeout.
Timeout, TCU, their first charge to the half. With the game clock operator, please reset the clock to 53 seconds. Please, 53 on the clock. Thank you.
Well, having all 3 timeouts, Jerry Kill says, hey, you know, we've just blown 2 opportunities now to get points on the board by throwing an interception in the end zone, not converting on 4th down. We have the 3 timeouts. Looks like Kansas is more than happy to just run the clock out. So let's get 3 stops, get the ball back, and maybe we can steal some points and feel a little bit better about ourselves as we enter to halftime when we get the ball back to start the second half.
Just looking at the stats, Ryan, it's really interesting. Kansas with 198 total yards, TCU 192.
A lot of mistakes on both sides, too, kind of just giving each other an opportunity to get back in this football game.
And Kansas continues to run to try to keep that clock going. TCU does have 2 more timeouts, of course. Terrell Cooper tackle.
And that will probably do it for the half. Once you get that first down, it's exactly what Kansas needed to send them to halftime, up 14-7. Both teams are going to have to look at some of the self-inflicted wounds there. But for the most part, Kansas has to feel pretty good about how the game started, how they bounced back, and took advantage of some mistakes that TCU has made.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels, 12 of 17, 133 yards, does have an interception. But Kansas is going to take a lead into the locker room. They are looking for back-to-back Big 12 wins for the first time since 2008. It will be TCU getting the football to start the 3rd quarter. Kansas trying to follow up that performance after an upset over Texas in overtime last week.
Coach Kill taking a moment here with his team. Last home game, last halftime opportunity to make some adjustments and come out on the other side.
Vittoria is down on the field with Kansas head coach Lance Leipold.
Thanks, Courtney. Coach, a couple of big plays from your defense, that big fourth down stop and the interception. What can you say about what your defense has contributed?
Well, they're battling hard right now. We gave up that one early big play, but they're playing hard to get a big stop like that, especially when we threw the interception, missed a field goal. Obviously, there's some opportunities we let slip away, but our defense has played well here in the second quarter.
We saw Devin Neal head into the locker room after he went down on the field. What does that do for your offense if he's not able to go in the second half?
Well, it's got to be next man up again. You know, Amari Pexic-Hickson got in and showed a little bit of there. We got to get him in a rhythm. We'll see how Devin's doing. Yeah, we're a little thin this time of year, but a lot of people are. We just got to keep battling.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lance Leipold in Kansas into the locker room here in Fort Worth with a 14-7 lead. Halftime at TCU. We've got a good second half coming for you. Courtney Lyle, Ryan Leaf, Tori Petrie down on the sidelines for us. Just a one-score game here in Fort Worth. TCU gets the ball to start the third quarter. Darius Davis back to receive the kickoff from Kansas. They'll send this one along the ground, and it is eventually recovered by TCU. Look, you mentioned it, a couple mistakes in that first half for TCU. They're 0 for 2 in the red zone. One of those was an interception in the end zone thrown by Max Duggan.
Yeah, and then the other was a fourth down conversion they didn't get that turned the ball over. Luckily for them, Kansas kept giving them the ball back. They just weren't able to execute and get any points there before halftime.
192 total yards for TCU in that first half, 201 for Kansas. And Max Duggan back to work starting at his own 35. Amari DiMercato on the handoff. Pushes it to the 41, met by Kyron Johnson.
We heard from Lance Leipold right before halftime. He talked about, executing, not allowing big explosive plays where they only got their only points of the first half, to see how the defense responds coming out here in the second half.
Duggan near side, it's Darius Davis. Davis had a 43-yard touchdown run to get TCU on the board first.
Just a little short of the first down marker will set up a very short third down.
Yeah, right at midfield for the Horned Frogs.
Good decisive throw here, puts it right on his outside shoulder. He turns exactly how he's supposed to. Jeremy Webb, fifth-year senior quarterback out of East Mims, Florida, there to make the stop.
TCU 1 of 5 on third down today. This is Kendre Miller. Miller still going. Shakes off Kenny Logan Jr. Goodbye. Boy, it's good to have Kendre Miller back.
Explosive plays, Courtney. That's the difference in offenses right now in terms of what TCU is doing and what Kansas is doing right there on a third and very short. When you get past that first level, everybody's at the line of scrimmage. You make one guy miss, and you're off to the races. Surprise, both Kenny Logan and Ricky Thomas can't get there to make the tackle. Jacoby Bryant gets shook off, and Kendre Miller walks into the end zone on a big explosive play touchdown.
56-yard touchdown for Kendre Miller. Welcome back to the field, buddy.
Yeah, welcome back. Way to start senior night here for the sophomore. Breaks the big tackle here. 3 Jayhawks. Jacoby Bryant can't make the play. Kendre Miller waltzes into the end zone, ties the game up for the Horned Frogs.
It's only explosive plays for TCU's 2 touchdowns today. They had a 43-yard rush for a touchdown by Darius Davis, and now a 56-yard run by Kendre Miller, back from injury to tie this game up at 14. He was out last week against Oklahoma State, took a shot to the ribs in that Baylor win. Looked like he was feeling okay.
Yeah, they anticipated he may be able to go today, and Horned Frog fans very happy he is.
This kick will go back into the end zone. Let's go down on the field to Torrey.
Guys, Horned Frogs were down going into the half. I caught up with coaches afterwards. They said the message to the team is that, hey, we've just been shooting ourselves in the foot here. This has been all about penalties, mistakes, turnovers. We just need to get those things cleaned up and worry about ourselves. Seems like they've turned things around a little bit. Courtney?
And Torrey, that's a great way to come out with a big-time, short but big drive. And now Kansas will get the ball for the first time in the third quarter. Jalen Daniels, the starting quarterback, once again. They like going on that first play of the drive to Kwame Lassiter.
Well, good play design here. Just Jared Casey and Luke Grimm both attacked the same defender there to block. Little mistake, miscommunication allowed and freed up a defensive back for TCU to make the tackle.
When Kansas was at its best offensively in that first half, what did you see?
They got Jalen Daniels on the move a little bit, throwing the football, and then they were consistent in rushing the football. Devin Allen, of course, or Devin Neal, of course, not back in the game after that injury in the first half.
It is Amari Pesic-Hickson. Devin Neal went down holding his left arm right before halftime. Complete to Lassiter. Steps out at the 31.
Apparently Andy Kotelnicki has us in his ears there. He runs a little bootleg.
I'm sure he's listening to you.
Sets up a manageable third down. Allows him to go to every avenue and aspect of his play sheet.
There's Devin Neal on the sideline for Kansas. Still got his pads on.
Looks like they got some sort of neoprene sleeve or something up there, trying to keep it warm.
Yeah, he has been the featured back today. 59 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Pesic-Hickson takes a couple of hits by this TCU defense.
That's what you call gang tackling there on the defensive side of the football. Simply a run pass option here. Zone read. Jared Casey, the lead blocker, really doesn't get up there and make contact on the end of the line of scrimmage. LaKendrick Van Zant first to meet him in the hole, and they get a big stop. Send Kansas back into punt formation.
It kind of felt like Kansas had the momentum in the first half, but TCU may have snatched it coming out here in the third quarter with that big touchdown run, 56 yards, and then a big defensive stop. Tie ball game in Fort Worth. TCU coming out on offense. TCU comes out in the third quarter. They tie this game up, and they're set to go back on offense. We were meeting with their interim head coach, Jerry Kill, and after the loss last week to Oklahoma State, they had a team meeting on Sunday, and he was very open and honest with these guys. He said, look, we're not changing. We've been working faster in practice to shorten the practice time, but still get a lot done. We've been watching more film, and he showed them examples of what they did right in that Baylor game that did not translate to the Oklahoma State game, and said, look, you've already done this right once. You can do it again.
It's a matter of preparation, readiness, opportunity. The coaches have stayed all in on this, even though, as Jerry Kill told us, they were most likely out of a job in about 8 days.
Dug it downfield, looking for Quincy Brown. No flags.
A little hand fight in there between Jeremy Webb and Quincy Brown, young freshman. Didn't get an opportunity to get over the top. Very reminiscent, Courtney, to how the first half started. Big play, explosive play by TCU. Kansas, in turn, had to respond, and let's see if they can.
I started out this game with a 43-yard touchdown run by Darius Davis for TCU. Kendre Miller is back in there again. Gavin Potter on the tackle. Third down coming. Yeah, it's been interesting to study and work on these two programs this week because they're in very different places. TCU, not sure of its future yet with its head coach, and Kansas coming off of a win with its first-year head coach that can really propel this program forward.
Yeah, we've talked about that throughout the game, just the different sides of this coin in this game, but both in a position right now to win this football game and build with that.
Max Duggan takes a hit and keeps on trucking to the 40.
Max Duggan, the leader at quarterback here, playing injured, gets away from 1, 2, 3, almost 4 tackles before he's brought down after a big gain. No wrapping up on the other side. Kenny Logan Jr. there imploring his teammate, make sure you wrap up, you get him to the ground, not just hit him with force.
First and 10 for Duggan and TCU. Darius Davis, first down immediately met by Kenny Logan Jr. Across midfield go the Horned Frogs.
Sometimes you just see the flashes of what was possible with this football team, especially at the quarterback position and the wide receiver position in Darius Davis.
That's a 15-yard pickup. TCU will hustle. And Kyron Johnson grabs Max Duggan, and Johnson is down on the field right now for Kansas.
Timeout on the field for an injured defensive player.
We'll take a look at Kyron Johnson. We mentioned the uncertain future for TCU. Obviously, there's several names. Specifically one, I think Sonny Dykes has really been mentioned several times from SMU taking over this TCU program.
Well, I asked Jerry Kill about that. I mean, he's experienced it. He's watched what Gary Patterson has put into this program for the last 20 years. And I asked him, you know, what will be expected of the next head coach for the TCU Horned Frogs? And he talked about, you know, offensive explosiveness. With the loss of Oklahoma and Texas, TCU has a real chance. These are the candidates that have been mentioned out there. Jamie Chadwell, of course, from Coastal Carolina, and what he's been able to do with that program. Sonny Dykes there at SMU. They're having a rough day against Cincinnati today. Cincinnati putting the beat down on them. Billy Napier, he's a really interesting name. I've covered him for a few years now. He's served under both Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban at Alabama. He's at Louisiana Lafayette right now. And Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head coach, who's undefeated this season for the Jackrabbits. So Sonny Dykes really fits the mold, especially around the idea of how he can recruit in the Metroplex. That is huge, and what he's done at SMU in his tenure there.
Johnson was able to get off the field on his own. Here comes Duggan pulling it. Max Duggan feeling fine. Just short of the end zone. That's a quarterback with a broken bone in his foot.
Just a great explosion, and then the wonderful blocking down the field by Darius Davis. Watch this as they pull the ball and takes off and gets outside on the perimeter. Great blocking down the field. Darius Davis blocks Kenny Logan Jr. and almost is able to dive into the end zone for the big score. Knocked out of bounds about the 2-yard line. Great ball fake again. Gets outside. I can't compliment enough the blocking down the field that gets him inside the 5.
I hand it off to Miller. We stopped by Kansas, but they'll have a handful of more opportunities here. TCU has really grabbed the momentum coming out in the third quarter, and it's been explosive plays every time.
Here's the end of that run. Darius Davis goes right there and just steps out of bounds right before the goal line. Gavin Potter able to knock him out of bounds.
Kansas just subbed about 4 guys into the game.
Got a one-on-one matchup up top if he wants it.
Here's your under center look, Ryan. High formation, they give it to the fullback. Short. Nick Channel and Taiwan Berryhill on the stop.
I don't know how many times he's carried the football this year. I don't know how many times they've taken a snap from under center.
You see Brent Matisic hobbling off one of their tight ends. I think they just handed him the football. So now it's 3rd and goal.
Little run pass option here. Put Max Duggan on the perimeter. Give him a two-way go. Just a great stop.
Kansas's defense holding up. 4th down. Malcolm Lee back out on the field. He was shaken up earlier.
Malcolm Lee, Kenny Logan Jr., the leading tackler on this football team. Not always the best thing when your safety is the leader, but here we go.
They're going for it. They're 0 for 1 on 4th down today. Kansas stopped him in the red zone on 4th down in the first half. Duggan into the end zone. Purple grass for TCU. It's a touchdown.
What I really thought Coach Meacham would have done on 3rd down there, but he knew he was probably going for it on 4th down. Give him a chance with the running game. Watch just the play fake here. Gets a blocker out in front in Spivey, and he just uses all his physical nature to get over the goal line and will this team to a 21-14 lead.
Runs right over Kenny Logan Jr. PAT is up and good. 10 plays, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Max Duggan into the end zone. TCU on top. Max Duggan punches it in for TCU. He's got 100 yards through the air, 60 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown today as TCU has taken a 21-14 lead.
Yeah, the difference maker in the offense today really has been the versatility of his ability to run the football, especially in short yardage situations when they need to make a big play. Really puts a lot of pressure on the defensive end, who's deciding on whether to take Duggan or the running back there. They're able to score and get the 6 points to put them up for the first time, or for the first time since their explosive play in the first half to get them up early.
This kick bounces into the end zone, and Kansas gets to start on its 25-yard line. It's been impressive to watch. Max Duggan did not play last game, had to start this game because of the injury to Chandler Morris.
Yeah, had a real chance to end his season and get surgery on an injury that he could get ready for next year, but he just said, hey, I'm the leader of this football team. We got to go. We got to find a way to win. And he's been a huge propellant for this football team so far, especially coming out here at halftime.
There's a carry by Amari Pesic-Hickson. We have not seen Devin Neal back out on the field. He still does have his uniform on the Kansas sideline.
Ultimately, that's a huge loss. He's a guy that really contributed to this offense, and in particular the consistency of running the football, threat to do that, allowing Jalen Daniels to get out on the perimeter, make plays with his arm.
Kansas only has 12 yards in the 3rd quarter. TCU has 139.
Limited in possession. Defense forced them off the field early, and they had to punt.
Kansas will take its time. Daniels turns around and hands the ball off. Pesic-Hickson, 1st down KU.
Your head coach Lance Leipold or offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki, right there, that's got to give you a little bit of confidence with Pesic-Hickson, his ability to churn it and get the 1st down.
Let's go down to the field for an update on Devin Neal with Tori.
Courtney, no official update from Kansas officials on Devin Neal's injury, but I can tell you he's down here on the sidelines. He does not have his helmet in hand. He's just kind of been walking along here, talking to teammates, staying engaged in the game, but no helmet with him, so we'll see what happens.
Tori, thanks for the update. Jalen Daniels running. wrapped up as he passes the 45-yard line in TCU land.
The previous 2 plays set that up, right? The ability for Amari Pesic-Hickson to get a couple big plays on first and second down there for the first down. Here he pulls it and then follows his blockers perfectly, gets outside and is able to pick up another big first down, and Kansas now has something going offensively.
Now that's a 21-yard pickup by Jalen Daniels. He was the star last week, threw for 202 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a rushing touchdown. And did he get outside the pocket? No flag down yet. Josh Foster was back there in his face. And they're not going to flag this.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket, and the ball was thrown to the line of scrimmage. First down. Correction.
It'll be second down.
They tried for a big play there, double move. I kind of thought they would come down to the bottom of the field where you had a one-on-one matchup, but they tried to hit a double move up top. The pressure from the TCU defense got to him and forced him outside the pocket. Luckily, he was able to get rid of the football.
Pistol look with Pesic-Hickson. And here comes third down for Kansas. Today they are 2 for 8 on third down.
They haven't been really good on third down all year long, right? 36% on the season. And when they get into predictable situations, and when I say predictable, I mean third and long, where they're going to have to throw the pass. The likes of O'Shawn Mathis and Kyrie Coleman can kind of pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
Also, Jared Casey, move him over closer to Daniels. Pesic-Hickson, all kinds of traffic. No chance. TCU all over it. Josh Foster there again. Shadrack Banks.
This is interesting, okay? They're kind of in no man's land right here, but it's 4th and very long. I could see it differently if it was like 4th and 5, but at the 43-yard line on 4th and 10, they're going to go for it.
They're 1 for 1 today on 4th down. Trevor Wilson moves to the backfield for Kansas.
Punt
and
it,
they, punt it.
Great idea. Yeah, great idea. I kind of thought they would, but where he was lined up, I didn't anticipate the ball being snapped to the quarterback. As I saw the motion come, I got, okay. Trevor Wilson now was able to put that down perfect. This is a shift to the field that you want now. You just need the defense to stand up because they haven't been able to do it so far here in the second half. They have yet to stop this TCU offense.
So now TCU is going to be backed up in its own end zone.
They couldn't have executed that better.
Yeah.
For making a decision, coaching, execution by the team, puts them in a perfect position for the defense to come up with something big here and maybe get some points of their own.
This Kansas defense forced 2 turnovers today already, including a pick in the end zone. But Kendre Miller has been the spark TCU needed on the ground in the third quarter. First down.
Perfect opportunity right there in the hole to make the tackle, if not for a safety because of a shotgun snap in the end zone, but to get him on the ground and set up a long second down. Instead, they are able to execute and get a first down and give them some cushion now, and now they can get into their offense, where they've been pretty unstoppable here in the second half.
Yeah, they've got Kendre Miller going 85 yards on the ground. That big 50-plus touchdown run helped. Back to him. You do kind of see, I mean, what they were missing last week. Remember, no Miller. Zach Evans out. He's out again today. They only had Amari DiMercato was their only scholarship running back. Amonte Watkins, who has been playing corner, took running back reps before last week's game just because they needed a body.
I will say this, too. who they went up against last week was a completely different monster in terms of
That's
defense.
true.
And Oklahoma State is a powerhouse defensively this year. But having those running backs back and the ability for Max Duggan to effectively change the game with his feet as well.
Dominic D'Annunzio, the tight end. First down. Or he may be just a few inches short.
I think he'll be just a little short.
Yeah.
Good play fake. Ran a little outside screen there with their tight end. And it sets up a very manageable 3rd and short for this team. Unfortunately, again, they sit back in the shotgun and now are 6 yards away from the line of scrimmage.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah.
Duggan on the keeper. He's got that first down. Takes a little bit more, too. Oh, turns around and says something to Kenny Logan Jr.
Now, if Kenny Logan Jr. is responsible for the quarterback in that, I mean, in the option game, there is a no-win scenario there, especially in short yardage, for the safety to make that play all the way up at the line of scrimmage. You have the numbers, you have the scheme, and they continue to run it here in the second half.
First and 10, just inside the 30. Why would you not? They're getting play after play of positive yardage. Kyron Johnson finally took down Kendre Miller.
Interim head coach Jerry Kill must have at halftime just said, hey, we're more of a physical football team than them. Let's go out in the second half and impose our will on them. And that's exactly what they've done on the offensive and defensive side of the football so far in this half.
TCU has just looked in control. Darius Davis back the other way. Kenny Logan on the stop.
Don't get me wrong, inventive play call. They just...
Timeout on the field for defensive injury.
It looks like Kenny Logan may be cramping. 18 seconds left in the quarter.
Just tried to get a little too cute there. They've been really impressive with what they've been doing. Watch this here. Play fake. Looks like he's going to throw the ball. Just flips it back to Davis on the end around, which ended up for a touchdown in the first half for him. But Kenny Logan Jr. right there on the spot wasn't fooled at all. Makes the tackle, and hopefully it's just a cramp. It looks like he starts to get up, and I know how that feels.
Yeah.
There's been many a night in the middle of the night I'll wake up and just...
Yep. It's not a great feeling.
It's not a great feeling.
TCU's already got the 4 fingers up in the air. Fourth quarter on the way.
That's the end of the third quarter.
TCU on top, 21-14 here on Senior Day. Fourth quarter. Getting ready to go here in Fort Worth. TCU has come out and taken control in the second half. Total yards, TCU 169, KU 39 in that third quarter. TCU had the ball for about 4 minutes longer. Duggan, deep shot, it's caught! Darius Davis! And there's a flag at midfield.
It was an interesting place where the flag was thrown, but I believe it's going to go against Kansas.
Holding. Defense, number 2. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is first down.
Yeah, that was Jacoby Bryant, but it doesn't matter. What a catch by Darius Davis.
All day long to sit back there and throw, and he fires a wobbler all the way down the field, and Jacoby Bryant just gets turned around, and Davis, Johnny on the spot, catches the football for another big gain for this TCU offense.
Explosive plays have been the story for the Horned Frogs. Miller. What's different for TCU in the second half?
They've just been really consistent in what they were doing, right? They saw something at halftime, made the right adjustments. You always wonder when you're talking about coaches and what kind of adjustments you can make at half, what you see in the first half, and they saw something clearly that they could out-scheme Kansas's defense by using Max Duggan on the perimeter, by running the football, and then throwing on big explosive plays. They got a couple in the first half, and they've tried a couple more in the second half, executed really well there to Davis to set up this opportunity.
Second down, back to Miller. Still going, busting through that rock chalk defense to the 5-yard line.
They were on the road a week ago. They played all those snaps. They allowed all those yards and 56 points, and then just kind of had to decompress a little bit this week and then get back out there. In this second half, TCU is just continued to run and run and run and make it a very physical football game. You can tell they're gassed there, especially on the defensive line.
Pistol look with Miller behind Duggan. Kansas defense, good response.
Been incredibly stout inside the 5-yard line. If you recall correctly, the previous drive where Max Duggan got in on 4th down, they stopped him inside the 2-yard line for 3 consecutive plays. Here, another great opportunity to try to make a stop.
Yeah, Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator for Kansas, had to change they get that physical mentality in with this defensive group when they took over. And remember, they only got fall camp because they were hired late, in the end of April is when this Kansas coaching staff took over. No spring. Duggan tried to cut back inside, breaks loose, get in there! No, just short.
Ruling on the field is the ball is down by rule just prior to the goal line.
Duggan's got a little something to say to Kenny Logan Jr. there, but the physical nature of Max Duggan here, look, he will not be denied. His elbow goes down. You can see that right before the goal line. The official right there to see it. I think it's a good call. Watch his elbow go down right there.
Yep.
Can't tell if the ball had crossed the red line there or not, but
signal is a touchdown for TCU. They get it the very next play.
it's just been a clinic, Courtney, in the second half. They've just been flat out out-coached, outperformed, out-physicaled up front in the trenches, and then you got to give all the credit to Max Duggan and his ability to lead this football team. I don't know. I don't think there's anything there you could overrule it with, but
The ruling on the previous play of a touchdown is under further review.
I mean, there's just a limited amount of camera angles here for you to take a look at. And so if you don't have one right down the line of scrimmage there, that's the best view you're going to get. It's just so difficult to see where the football is. That one's not going to give you a really good look there. Kenny Logan Jr. right there on the spot. Everybody gets to play. This will be their best look. Gets inside. You know, he ends up behind the red line of the goal line there. I just can't tell where the football is in his hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to guess. And since they called it a touchdown on the field, there's nothing that's indecipherable there for the replay official to change the call. Huge second half. Another great drive. Did this start at the 1 yard line? I think
yes,
this drive
did.
started at the 1 line.
It did.
99-yard drive that ends up in a score. Takes a bunch of time off the 276 yards rushing for this TCU Horned Frogs team versus 100 for Kansas.
The ruling of a touchdown stands.
So there's stands, meaning they'll go with the original call on the field. So Amari DiMercato gets the credit for that one. The coaching staff, Jerry Kill, they talked to us about, we want to make sure these kids know that we care about them. We want them to have success moving forward. They have done everything, all the extra steps to make sure they know that and want them to have success in the final games of the season. Remember, TCU is 4-6. A couple of wins, they could be bowl eligible. Horned Frogs taking over here in the second half, up 28-14.
Welcome back to Fort Worth, where the Horned Frogs just took a 2-score lead over Kansas football. I mean, guys, for as good as Max Duggan has been playing today, at one point this week, this TCU coaching staff didn't know whether he was going to be able to go. They didn't know who was going to be playing quarterback. On Sunday and Monday, they were just picking their favorite plays and saying, hey, we'll figure out how to adjust them later on in the week when we know who is playing at QB. It sure does not look like that broken bone in Duggan's foot is bothering him too much today, though, Courtney.
Yeah, Tori, he looks great. And that's so interesting. It's kind of been the last couple weeks for TCU, that being in limbo of who are they going to have, who are they not going to have. Kenny Logan Jr. on the return. Tripped up at the 25.
Coach Kill talked to us this week about what his main job as the interim head coach was. And it was simply to manage the players, to play as hard as possible, whatever that had to look like. Thursday night, he took the team bowling. He told the coaches to go have some time on their own. I know Coach Meacham and some others went out and played a little golf. You just kind of took some of the pressure off, and they're a perfect example of going out and controlling what you can't control. The coaches don't know where they're going to be. The players don't know what's going to happen. But what they could do on this Saturday is control what they do on the football field, and they have controlled this football game in the second half.
Kwame Lassiter breaks a tackle across midfield, goes Lassiter. And for the coaches not knowing what's next, that's, again, Gary Patterson and TCU have parted ways, so you would assume that a lot of all these coaches for TCU won't be here.
Yeah, and Kwame Lassiter there does a great job of making a guy miss in the open field and pick up some much-needed yardage. They need to get points here, in particular a touchdown, to get back in this game.
And TCU has scored 21 unanswered points. Amari Pesic-Hickson in at running back. Haven't seen Devin Neal since he went down with an injury late in the second quarter. Jamoy Hodge on the stop.
Well, we've complimented Andy Kolonicki a ton today. But as this game has progressed, I've watched the safeties for TCU start to creep up closer and closer and closer. I've been really surprised he hasn't tried to take a big shot down the field. They're within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Jalen Daniels has shown us he can air the football out. That's Stephen McBride. First down, KU.
Great play call. The difference in this game has been explosive plays, and Kansas has been in need of those. There's an example, right? You run something a little differently, a little forward pass, a little shovel pass. Not a lot of danger there. If the ball hits the ground, it's an incomplete pass. If not, you get a big play opportunity. Gets the defense to back off a little bit.
Pesic-Hickson still being productive. To the 28.
Let's make this a ball game here, Jayhawks. Let's get the ball in the end zone. Put the little pressure right back on TCU here. Just a great job by Pesic-Hickson, just keeping his feet going, right? He lands on top of a defender and says, hey, I'm not down. I didn't hear a whistle. Let's go.
"21 yards on the ground for Pesic-Hickson. Daniels looking. Luke Grimm! Touchdown, KU!
Just made reference to it, Courtney. Not a lot of big shots down the field.
Timeout on the play for an injured player.
And it's Luke Grimm who is still down. Remember, this is his first game back. Didn't play the last two with an injury.
All right, a double move by Luke Grimm here. Watch him, he stutters and gets by that safety. A little delayed in throwing the football, but a great job by Daniels getting him the football. He just lands. He's probably just knocked the wind out of him, I hope. He caught the ball in the air and got forced to the ground. Tremendous play call by Andy Kotelnicki. Good execution by both Luke Grimm and Jalen Daniels. Explosive plays, Courtney, continue to be the recipe in this football game.
Luke Grimm is up.
Not only the importance of the score there, but of how quickly they did it. Because TCU has chewed up a lot of time with their ground game, and you want to be able to get the football back and give yourself a chance.
Yeah, 5 plays, 74 yards, just 2 minutes and 14 seconds on that drive.
So weird how you flip that switch. Where's it been for the second half? And then all of a sudden, you know, a couple interesting play calls and using Jalen Daniels out on the perimeter and throwing from the pocket. And there you go. Manufacture some points here and get them back in the ballgame.
Warchilla on for the PAT. And it's good. Back to a one-score game. They're still taking a look at Luke Grimm over on the sidelines for KU.
Daniels pump fake and lets it fly. Luke Grimm makes a great catch for the touchdown to get him within 7. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Fort Worth, where Kansas just scored a touchdown to come within 1 score of TCU here. That touchdown was from quarterback Jalen Daniels. By playing in this game, he gives up his red shirt for this year. Coach Lance Leipold said he actually left the decision up to Jalen and his family whether he was going to play. But he said, hey, I believe in what this football team is doing. I want to keep this momentum going from that win over Texas last weekend. And he wanted to play, so he gave up that red shirt. Courtney?
Tori, that's a really mature decision for a sophomore, Jalen Daniels. It is important to note, too, he does have that COVID year, so he can play 5 years.
Right, that gives you a lot of flexibility in what decision-making you're having. And I think a lot of the kids this day and age believe they're going to go play in the NFL, so they're like, I don't need that. I don't need that redshirt year.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. I redshirted, and then I gave a year away, so I don't know how to. I can't reconcile it. Do your thing, Jalen.
And then you're in the transfer portal for 26 years. Yeah, whatever it is, 25.
If I had to play today, apparently I have to give back all that money. And,
oh, right.
What if you've spent it all?
Well,
what are you supposed to do
you're in
then?
a pickle.
I'm in a pickle.
TCU came out of the locker room at halftime, took control of this game. They have burned a lot of clock on their drives in the second half. Off play action. Duggan dumps it out to Jacorius Spivey. Kenny Logan Jr. there.
He really assessed, Kenny Logan Jr. really assessed that play as it was in action. Looking from it from up here, he just was like he was shot out of a cannon to make that tackle. It's exactly what they need. They need a couple big stops here. They need the football back, capitalize on that big drive offensively.
2nd and 8. Duggan in pressure, taken down. Kyron Johnson. Pass incomplete.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Number 33 was in the area of the pass. 3rd down.
It's amazing what a little mojo will do right here. Kyron Johnson just explodes, gets right to the quarterback. Tremendous job by Duggan, of course, of getting rid of the football before he goes down. No, sometimes if you slow that one down a little bit, you could see if his knee was down before he let go of the football, but sets up a huge 3rd down here for both. I think it's okay.
3rd down here. Duggan just got slammed to the ground. Gavin Potter. Nate Betts also there. That one might have hurt.
Just a wonderful job of lining up in the A-gaps with two of their best linebackers, Nate Betts and Gavin Potter. Watch here. They just explode and run a little bit of a mix. They both meet at the quarterback and take him down. Exactly what this Kansas team needed. A big stop. The defense off the field and back in the hands of Jalen Daniels, who might have been one of the hottest quarterbacks over the last 7 quarters of this college football season.
Jordan Sandy on the punt. Kansas calls for a fair catch. All right, Kansas, show us what you got. Down a score here in the 4th quarter. He's already had a one-handed grab tonight, but Kansas just down by a score now. Just got a big defensive stop. Can they get another Big 12 win?
Stay aggressive here.
Daniels. Pass broken up and dropped. LaKendrick Van Zant.
Jalen Daniels there looking for the lanky wide receiver Lawrence Arnold there. Great job by the defense, just simply getting their hands up. You can't get to the quarterback, get your big paw up in the air, try to knock it down.
Both teams have benefited from explosive plays over 20 yards in this second half. That has helped them go back and forth and help TCU jump out to this lead as there is a big-time stop. Corey Blethely.
It's tough to run the football in 2nd and 10 situations. I like to on 1st down. If I'm going to try to throw the football, I want to get it out on the perimeter. I don't want to give the defensive line a chance to make a play. They tried to run a couple inside slants. It gets knocked down. They run it for no gain, and now they're in a situation where they got to make a big play here on 3rd down or give it back up.
They'll send Kwame Lassiter in motion. Daniels looking his way. 1st down. KU. Midfield.
Good play call. Simply runs a curl with Kwame Lassiter, the guy that was in motion there. Inexplicably, the cornerback just takes off and is about 15 yards down the field where he gets spun around. Keon Stewart just got lost there, lost his wide receiver, and it's an easy pickup on 3rd down.
Right at the 50-yard line for Kansas, 1st and 10. Daniels in trouble. And it's dropped. Pass was trying to go to Amari Pesic-Hickson. Kyrie Coleman got to the quarterback.
Not such a bad thing to drop that football. Good job by Jalen Daniels of evading this free rusher right here. He escapes, finds an open receiver. Pesic-Hickson there probably does them a service by dropping the football. Would have been probably a loss of 1 or 2. Again, sets you up in a situation now where you're 2nd and 10.
Up top to Jared Casey. Casey gets his hands on the football again, taken down by Banks.
Wonderful job of catching the football, getting some extra yardage after the catch to put him in a position now where offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki can call whatever he wants. He can run some sort of run-pass option, get the quarterback on the perimeter, or flat out decide we're just going to run the football with a zone run play and try to pick up the 1st down. We'll know a lot of what he calls here on whether or not they're going to go for it on 4th down.
That was the 3rd catch for Jared Casey for 24 yards tonight. Daniels moving. Still on his feet. To the 25-yard line. Move the chains.
Straight quarterback draw play call here. Nothing fancy, nothing big about it. They're going to get an offensive lineman out on a linebacker here. He just finds the hole, makes a great cut at the point of attack. Picks up another 1st down. It's funny how to see a switch get flipped. TCU, who's run them over running the football, decides to throw the ball 3 consecutive times in the last drive, and now Kansas just having their way with TCU's defense.
Kwame Lassiter tiptoeing down the sideline, but stepped out at the 10-yard line.
So close there. Just a wonderful read by Jalen Daniels. Sees the one-on-one matchup out there. Probably had a runner pass option on this. Gets it out to his best wide receiver, who almost is able to evade the tackle, but steps out of bounds just before he explodes for the touchdown. Tomlinson doesn't get the leverage, and just looks like he steps out of bounds before exploding up the field.
They'll change the formation here. It's an empty set for Jalen Daniels. Lobs one up to Jared Casey. Get it! Touchdown, KU! This guy.
I don't know if you saw that they motioned out an offensive lineman.
Mom and Dad love it.
They put him, Earl Bostic, out in the route out there. He bounces right back, and no one able to compensate for Jared Casey. He goes over the top. Sure hands Casey. I guess Allstate's going to come calling now soon, probably too, right?
Already in an Applebee's commercial after catching the two-point conversion last week to beat Texas. What lies ahead for Jared Casey?
A scholarship, hopefully.
But that was impressive, but I'm still impressed by the one-handed grab he had earlier in this game, too.
It doesn't matter. He just catches everything. It's like Chris Carter, only catches touchdowns and two-point conversions.
We're going to have to get a copy of that video from his mom. Will it go viral again? Jared Casey with the touchdown catch from Jalen Daniels.
Welcome back to Fort Worth, everybody. Check out the imagination here by Andy Kodalicki. He moves Earl Bostic out there. No one identifies that Jared Casey's on the line of scrimmage, and it's a tackle eligible, so no one has him. He does a great job of just exploding. No one's there. By the time they figure it out, he's already in the back of the end zone, and Jalen puts it perfectly for the touchdown for the big fella, tying this ball game up. What a second half by both. It's a tale of two quarters, really. TCU in the third, and now Kansas in the fourth. Let's see what TCU does. They inexplicably came out and ran 3 passing plays consecutively that cost them an opportunity to really run this game out, and now they need points. So the best thing for them to do is to do what they've done best all second half, and that's run the football.
Yeah, they came out of the locker room at halftime, took control in that third quarter. Do they go back to the ground game? They've got time to get down the field and score. Both teams with 3 timeouts. DeMercado on the ground. Picks up a yard on the play, met by Keenan Caldwell.
Interesting too. That is a different run play call. That's a little sprint draw, usually used around, second and long or third down situations. There, they don't present the dual threat possibility of Max Duggan on the perimeter, making a safety come up and make a tackle. And so, interesting play calling for the last 4 plays for this TCU Horned Frogs team.
2nd and 9.
Flea flicker.
Duggan. Trying to throw one up to Quincy Brown off of his fingertips, and Max Duggan took a hard hit.
They had him too. Great play call. Just couldn't hold up at the line of scrimmage here. Watch the handoff. Turns around and gets it right back to him. But that safety came flying from his position. He had to unload it just a split second too early. Goes off the fingertips of the young freshman Quincy Brown. And now sets up a 3rd and long. Kansas can get off the field again and put it in the hands of their playmakers and try to steal another win on the road.
TCU 6 of 12 on 3rd down. Pass complete, and it's a 1st down for the Horned Frogs. Darius Davis.
That's been their go-to on 3rd down. Really move Darius Davis down into a zone where it vacates. Max Duggan, all he has to do is drop back, find his favorite receiver, and just put it on the money, and it's exactly what he does. Moves the chains.
Over 100 yards receiving for Darius Davis, a new season high. Back to the ground. And it's DeMercado, great play, stopped by Logan Jr. and Gilliam.
There you go. There's that zone read I was talking about. That puts a lot of onus on this defense and staying with their read, making sure they trust their eyes. And Max Duggan becomes a threat. Therefore, they will explode a big play there on first down.
Yeah, Max Duggan has been a threat today. 65 yards on the ground and a touchdown. First down. This is more like what we saw in the third quarter. I don't know what the last offensive possession was for TCU.
Neither do I. You know, sometimes offensive coordinators can just get a little bored when things are going really well. They look at that play call sheet and say, hey, we haven't run this play yet. We haven't run this play yet. Let's try this. I'm of the mindset that if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. And when they impose their will and run this zone read with the quarterback and the running back on the edge, they are a problem.
Off play action for Duggan. Pocket collapsing. Tucks it and runs. Oh, really hard hit. Kyron Johnson grabbed him, but he met a defender head on as well.
Good job of running him down. No one's open. Great job by the defensive backfield. He runs out. And as he's getting pulled down, there's nothing you can do there as a defender. You lower your shoulder, and I know the fans here don't like it.
He lowered his shoulder, turned to the side, wasn't launched. That was Rich Miller. Davis. Darius Davis, past the 40.
Just a difference maker with the ball in his hand. They run the end around like they did in the first half. That got him the big touchdown on that explosive play, and it moves the chains once again. He's been their best player offensively today in terms of being diverse, getting him the football in different ways.
And he had to step up because remember, no Quentin Johnston in this game, out with an injury. Their leading receiver. Max Duggan right up the middle. First down.
I commend this Kansas defense. They continue to throw their body in harm's way. Max Duggan is a load back there. I mean, he has no hesitation when he takes off with that football. No matter who's coming at him, where they're coming at, he's going to will himself for a first down.
9-yard pickup. And TCU just keeps coming. Imari DeMercado.
All right, if I'm Kansas here, I'm going to start using my timeouts because I need to at least have a chance, but they're not doing that. I don't get this. Maybe they're just hoping that TCU misses a field goal. I don't like this coaching decision by Lance Leipold.
To the outside, DeMercado. Around the edge, first down, and steps out of bounds. Yeah, TCU having its way. They've rushed for over 300 yards.
Now it's a matter, if I'm Kansas here, you know, just getting the stop and make him, I guess, attempt a field goal. Otherwise, you just let him score here.
Yeah.
So you get the ball back.
39 seconds on the clock. And another great run. Kansas has got to call timeout.
I don't think they were calling a timeout.
Nate Betts is down.
Timeout on the field for an injured defensive player.
Wow, really interesting. All 3 timeouts for Kansas and not using any of them.
Yeah, just I don't think want to extend this game. You know, it's either going to come down to a field goal made or missed, I guess. An interesting decision. We'll see how it works out for them.
They're taking a look at Nate Betts right now on the ground for Kansas.
But I really look back to when Max Duggan carried that ball for that almost first down And once they got that first down and there was 1:05 to go, I would have expected Lance Leipold at that point to start using his timeouts to save as much time possible for this offense, because they're most likely going to have to respond to either tie this game or win this game ultimately.
Griffin Kell waiting in the wings for TCU.
Kell's been very, very good this year. Only, I think he's 100% in his PATs. And
Kansas has elected to take their first charge timeout.
76% this year so far.
This will be a 30-second timeout. 30 seconds.
So now that stops the clock. The continuation, obviously, from the injury timeout.
Well, they need to, they're having a conversation over there right now that as a defense, you got to let them score. If they run the football, let them go. If I'm on the TCU side of it, I'm saying you explode, and if you get near the goal line, you just go down. Just don't allow the team. Some people always talk about, well, if they score, that it makes Kansas go do it. But if you don't give them the ball back, they never have a chance to do it.
Right.
Ever. And so those are the opposing ideas right now. Kansas is probably going to try to let TCU score. TCU, if they get near it.
Timeout. TCU, their first charge to the half. 30 seconds in length, 30 seconds.
That's probably the conversation they're going to have right now. They're most likely going to be allowed to try to score here. If so, don't get into the end zone. Get down on a knee. Make them use their timeouts, and ultimately a chip shot, PAT field goal to win the game.
Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining, 25 seconds on the clock.
28-28. Another nail biter on the road for Kansas.
Max Duggan will work out of the pistol with DeMarcado behind him. Second down. And he's a yard short of the first down. So they didn't let him score.
Kansas takes their second charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length.
I don't know. Different philosophies, right? On what you go do. You maybe believe you can get a stop here on third down, make them kick a field goal, and then something.
You're not leaving yourself much time,
No,
though.
I mean, that's a decision he made to not call a timeout at 105. And when you make that decision, that can't influence what you do here and let your pride take over to make a stop. Once you've made that decision not to call a timeout at 105, you got to have a plan in place. You have to let them score here or attempt to score here so you can get the ball back with as much time as you have possible.
Kansas down to 1 timeout. TCU still with 2. 18 seconds. It's 3rd and 2.
He's just going to take a knee.
So now 4th down, you come on and kick.
See that? So making that decision before not to let them score, that's going to be extremely meaningful.
Kansas calls their third and final charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length. Would the game clock operator please put 11 seconds on the clock, please? 11 seconds.
How'd that play take 7 seconds?
Thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he scampered around there for a second.
I don't know. I don't know. This has been a very interesting clock management scenario by both coaches here. Lance Leipold in his first year in the Big 12, and of course Jerry Kill as the interim head coach here at TCU. Sets up the field goal here for Kell. Field goal will take 3 seconds off.
Right.
You know, essentially 8 seconds.
It goes back to not calling the timeout when there was about 1:05 on the clock.
Yeah, just the decision made right there with all your timeouts to haven't been in a lot of these games, though, as a head coach here.
Griffin Kell, 25 yards out. It's up and good. TCU has the lead. 6 seconds on the clock.
Back to their identity, running the football here on this final drive. A big third down conversion that kept them going, and then just continued to punish down inside the red zone. The decision making by Lance Leipold in terms of his timeouts. 6 seconds to go, no timeouts left. Need to get in range for a field goal. Doesn't look good. I don't know, you must have a play that you've practiced maybe. You know, it is the big game day. Cal Stanford is playing. There is a band here. Who knows?
Oh, goodness.
Get ready. You could have one of the calls of the century. Get ready, Courtney.
I'm ready.
All right.
Kansas better be ready. This kickoff coming from Griffin Kell. Things totally changed for TCU at halftime. They came out, took over in the third quarter, scored 21 unanswered points. Kansas was able to catch back up. And then TCU cleaned it up. If they had had some of the mistakes they had had in the first half, they wouldn't have been able to take that drive, kill the clock, and get those points to go ahead on this last possession.
We talked about it coming out of halftime, that the team that doesn't make the big mistake. And the biggest mistake so far was Lance's decision to go for it or not call those timeouts.
And here goes Kansas, Kenny Logan Jr. And that's going to be the ball game. Still trying, they finally get him down. TCU survives a victory for the Horned Frogs on Senior Day.
Haven't been in a lot of end of game situations like that. They'll take that when they head back to Lawrence, take a look at it, figure out what they can do better the next time. A compliment great to Jerry Kill, getting these guys ready to play, go out to play their hardest and keep them in a situation where they could be bowl eligible. Those practices are going to be huge for whoever they bring in as the next head coach, implementing some things he won't probably take over. Who knows? We don't know what Jeremiah Donati is going to do. But the decision should be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. Wonderful win here on Senior Day in Fort Worth. Let's head down to Torrey with the winning coach.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Coach, what a thriller for you and your team. Walk me through what's going through your head in that final drive.
Well, you know, we knew we couldn't give them the ball back. That's for sure. And we made a couple big plays. And, you know, you can't say enough about that, you know, our quarterback. Our quarterback's playing with a broken foot. And I don't know who can run like that with a broken bone in his foot. But he is a tough kid. And down the stretch, he's the difference in the game.
What was your conversation like with him throughout this game? I mean, to us, it didn't look like he was injured at all. How was he handling things?
He was doing good. I ask him all the time, you okay, you okay? He goes, Coach, leave me alone. I'm locked in. I can play with pain. His daddy was a high school coach, and his daddy's, you know, old school like me.
3 unanswered scores there. Something changed after the half for you guys. What did you guys see at halftime?
Well, the biggest thing is we didn't meet very long with coaches. I said, you got to get to the kids and get things straightened out and get us back to where we're executing the proper way. And then we just got to go out and play hard. You know, give my hats off to Kansas. That guy's on the right track.
Coach, congratulations. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Yeah, Max Duggan, super impressive tonight, Ryan, with everything he's gone through.
I mean, come on. Yeah, broken foot, like Torrey said, didn't even look like it hampered him all game. In fact, he was the difference maker with his feet and how he started to control this game in the second half. Love to see it from a group of kids that are watching something play out. A great learning and teaching opportunity. You control what you can control. And today, on Saturday, they got to control an opportunity on Senior Day and keep them in bowl eligibility.
Yeah, one more game next week, a win next week over Iowa State, and they are bowl eligible. What a showing from TCU. Max Duggan, 10 of 16, 166 yards through the air, did have the one interception, but also ran for 74 yards and a score. And TCU able to survive a close one at the end. TCU victorious tonight on senior night, 31-28. TCU will have a big matchup next week as they take on Iowa State. That'll be on Friday with bowl eligibility on the line. TCU gets the win, 31-28.